Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the cramped quarters of the apartment, the relentless ticking of the clock echoed through the silence, emphasizing the significance of the impending moment. Every second brought Kian closer to a pivotal change that had been building up for years. Kian's reflection in the bathroom mirror betrayed the internal struggle. Those once familiar features, defined by a sharp jaw, were now framed by brown locks, defiant in their growth, grazing the collar of a trusted blue shirt. Their fingers, steadying the fabric, betrayed their nerves. Kian breathed deeply, a ritual of calm, readying for the future. The morning was a prelude to a grand shift, a life-altering metamorphosis. The work desk, with its nameplate bearing the name Kian Wilson, would soon be an artifact of the past, its owner transitioning beyond it. Weekends and nights, long considered sanctuaries, marked the upcoming transformation. The careful ritual of transformation, makeup applied with growing expertise, clothes selected with an eye for both style and fit, had evolved from occasional experimentation to something essential, something true. Getting ready that morning took longer than usual. Each movement felt weighted with significance. The razor glided over skin with extra care. Brown hair styled with attention to every strand. Clothes laid out the night before, waited patiently on the bed. Not the usual workday attire, but something different for this most important day. The closet stood open, revealing the carefully curated collection that had grown over years of secret purchases and online orders. A life divided between two wardrobes, two identities, two truths. At the back of the closet, behind the work shirts and slacks, hung the evidence of countless nights spent becoming whole, dresses, blouses, skirts, each representing another step toward authenticity. A phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Melanie, the only person who knew what today meant. "Today's the day. You've got this. Call me after?" Fingers typed a quick reply. "Will do. Appointment at 10. Terrified, but ready." The navy blue pencil skirt slid on with practiced ease, followed by the cream-colored blouse that complemented it perfectly. The outfit had been selected after hours of consideration. Professional, appropriate, but undeniably feminine. Black heels completed the look, adding height and confidence with each step. One final glance in the full-length mirror. The person staring back looked both familiar and new. The brown hair framed a face carefully made up, not overly dramatic, but defining features that had always felt right. Kian was already fading. Phoebe was emerging. The drive to the lawyer's office passed in a blur of anxious thoughts and rehearsed answers. The radio played unheard. The portfolio on the passenger seat contained all the necessary documentation: birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, all bearing a name that had never quite fit. The law office occupied the 4th floor of a modest downtown building. The receptionist looked up with a professional smile. "I have an appointment with Ms. Harrington. Kian Wilson." "Of course. Please have a seat. She'll be with you shortly." The waiting room chairs were uncomfortable, or perhaps that was just nerves. A clock on the wall ticked loudly, marking the final moments of one life before beginning another. "Kian? Ellen Harrington. Come on back." Attorney Harrington's office was warm and welcoming, with framed degrees on the wall and family photos on the desk. She gestured to a chair. "So, today we're finalizing your name change petition. I've reviewed all your documents and everything seems to be in order." Her glasses slid down her nose as she reviewed the paperwork. And the name you've chosen is Phoebe Wilson? Yes, Phoebe Wilson. May I ask what led you to choose Phoebe? A moment's hesitation. It's been my name online for years now, in forums where I could be myself. It feels right. Ellen nodded, no judgment in her expression. That's what matters. Now, once we file this petition, there will be a court date. You'll appear before a judge who will review your application. Barring any complications, which I don't anticipate, your name change will be granted that day. After that, we'll need to update your social security card, driver's license, and other identification. The process seemed simultaneously overwhelming and thrillingly simple. Forms were signed, copies were made, and a court date was set for the following week. Do you have any questions, Phoebe? The name hung in the air like a gift. Professional lips remained steady despite the emotion welling up. No, I'm ready. The courthouse loomed large on the appointed day. The navy blue pencil skirt and cream blouse made their second appearance, now paired with a matching navy blazer. Each step toward the building felt momentous. The courtroom was less imposing than expected, a small room with wooden benches and the judge's bench at the front. Other petitioners waited for their cases to be called. Various life changes were being certified by the court that day, but none felt quite as profound as this one. Petition for name change, Keon James Wilson to Phoebe Elizabeth Wilson. Standing before the judge, hands clasped to prevent visible trembling, the questions were answered clearly and concisely. This name change is not being sought to avoid creditors or legal obligations. No, Your Honor. You are not changing your name to perpetrate fraud or for any illegal purpose? No, Your Honor. And this name change is important to you because... A moment's pause. Truth hung in the balance. Because it reflects who I truly am, Your Honor. The judge nodded, her eyes kind but professional. I find no legal reason to deny this petition. Your request for a legal name change is granted. The pen trembled slightly as it moved across the final documents. With each stroke, Keon receded further into the past. The signature, practiced dozens of times in private, flowed onto the paper. Phoebe Elizabeth Wilson. Congratulations, Ms. Wilson. These are your certified copies of the court order. You'll need them to update your identification and records. Thank you, Your Honor. Walking out of the courthouse, the sunlight seemed brighter somehow. The phone came out immediately. Melanie, it's done. It's official. I'm Phoebe now. I'm so proud of you. We need to celebrate. Dinner tonight? Absolutely. But first I have one more stop to make. The boutique downtown had become a familiar haunt over recent months. The bell chimed as the door opened, and the sales associate looked up with a smile of recognition. Good afternoon. How did it go? It's official. I'm legally Phoebe now. A wide smile spread across the associate's face. That calls for a celebration. And I know just the thing. That pink dress you've been eyeing is still here. The pink cocktail dress had been a fantasy for months. Each visit to the boutique had included at least one longing glance at it. The perfect shade of pink, elegant but not too formal, with a silhouette that would flatter the figure that hormone therapy was gradually reshaping. I'll take it. That evening, the pink dress made its debut at dinner with Melanie. The restaurant was upscale enough to warrant the outfit, but casual enough to feel comfortable. You look amazing, Phoebe. Truly. I've never seen you this happy. I've never been this happy. It feels like I've been holding my breath for years, and I can finally exhale. Champagne glasses clinked together in celebration of a new beginning. To Phoebe, May she live authentically every day from now on. The days that followed brought the practical challenges of transitioning all identification and records. The Social Security Office, the DMV, the bank, insurance companies, each required the court order, and each interaction brought a mix of anxiety and validation. Some encounters were easier than others. The young woman at the bank processed the change with cheerful efficiency. "All set, Ms. Wilson. Your new cards should arrive within 7 to 10 business days." The older man at the DMV scrutinized the documents with narrowed eyes, but ultimately processed the change without comment. The workplace transition had been planned for weeks. Human resources had been notified, preparations made. Still, walking into the office building that Monday morning, brown hair styled carefully, wearing a burgundy dress with a black blazer, felt like stepping onto a stage. The HR director met Phoebe in the lobby. "Good morning. Ready for today?" "As ready as I'll ever be." The team meeting had been scheduled specifically for this purpose. Colleagues filed in, coffee cups in hand, unaware of the announcement to come. The department head began.
"Before we get to our regular agenda items, I want to give the floor to someone who has something important to share with the team."
Standing before colleagues of 5 years, some friends, some merely acquaintances, Phoebe felt her mouth go dry. "Good morning, everyone. As some of you may have noticed, there have been some changes in my appearance over recent months. I wanted to let you all know that I have legally changed my name to Phoebe Wilson, and I will be using she, her pronouns going forward. This is who I truly am, and I appreciate your support as I make this transition." The room was silent for a moment before the department head spoke again. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Phoebe. We're here to support you." He turned to the team. "I expect everyone to respect Phoebe's name and pronouns. If you have questions about transgender issues in general, I encourage you to do your own research rather than putting that burden on Phoebe." The rest of the meeting proceeded with routine matters, but Phoebe was aware of the glances, some curious, some supportive, some uncomfortable. By lunchtime, her new nameplate had been installed at her desk. Phoebe Wilson, Senior Analyst. David from accounting stopped by in the afternoon. They had worked together on projects, but were not particularly close. "Hey, I just wanted to say, that took courage this morning. My cousin transitioned a few years ago. It was rough at first, but he's never been happier. If you need anything, or if anyone gives you trouble, let me know." "Thank you, David. That means a lot." Not every interaction was so positive. Barbara from sales walked a wide berth around Phoebe's desk for weeks afterward. Roger from IT stumbled over pronouns consistently, though it wasn't clear if it was deliberate or simply habit. Each day brought new challenges and small victories. The first time a client called and asked for Ms. Wilson, without hesitation. The barista at the coffee shop who wrote Phoebe on the cup without being prompted. The old friend who reached out after seeing the name change announcement on social media. "You look happy. That's all that matters." Months passed. Hormone therapy continued to work its subtle magic, softening features, redistributing weight. The brown hair grew longer, now reaching well past the shoulders, requiring more maintenance but feeling more right with each additional inch. The closet underwent a complete transformation. The old clothes, the costume of a life not truly lived, were donated. New outfits filled the space, each selected with care to build a wardrobe that expressed who Phoebe had always been. The pink cocktail dress hung in a place of honor. It had become something of a talisman, worn for special occasions and moments of celebration. It represented that first step into a life without compromise. 1 year after the court date, Melanie organized a rebirth day party. Close friends gathered to celebrate not just the legal milestone, but the journey of the past year. "Speech!" someone called out as champagne was poured. Standing before these people who had witnessed her transformation, Phoebe felt a surge of gratitude. "A year ago, I was terrified. I knew who I was, but I didn't know if the world would accept me. I didn't know if I'd lose my job, my friends, my family. What I've learned is that authenticity attracts authenticity. Some people couldn't accept me, and that hurt. But the relationships that remained grew stronger, and new people came into my life who know and love the real me." Wearing the pink dress that had become emblematic of her journey, brown hair now styled in loose waves that framed her face, Phoebe raised her glass. "To all of you who stood by me, and to finding the courage to be who we truly are." Life settled into new patterns. The daily routine of makeup and styling hair became second nature. Clothes were selected based on the day's activities and personal preference, rather than as a statement or affirmation. Being Phoebe was no longer a conscious act, but simply existence. Dating presented new challenges. The dating app profile required careful consideration: how much to reveal, and when. After several uncomfortable experiences, Phoebe opted for transparency from the beginning. Transgender woman, 35, brown hair, brown eyes. Senior analyst who enjoys hiking, classic films, and trying new restaurants. Looking for someone who appreciates authenticity. The approach filtered out those who wouldn't be accepting, but it also meant fewer matches. Quality over quantity became the mantra. Michael appeared in her matches on a rainy Tuesday evening. His profile showed a man with kind eyes and an easy smile. History professor, 38, divorced, no children. His first message was refreshingly straightforward. "I enjoyed reading your profile. I appreciate your honesty and would love to get to know you better. Have you seen any good films lately?" Their first date was at a small Italian restaurant downtown. Phoebe chose a dark green dress that complemented her brown hair and eyes. The conversation flowed easily, moving from films to books to travel dreams. "I have to admit," Michael said over dessert, "I haven't dated a transgender woman before. If I say or ask something inappropriate, please tell me." "I appreciate that. And I'm happy to answer questions if they come from a place of genuine interest. Right now, I'm genuinely interested in whether you'd like to go to the film festival with me next weekend. They're showing a restored version of Casablanca." "I'd love to." The relationship progressed slowly, thoughtfully. Michael asked questions when he had them, but never made Phoebe feel like an educational resource. He introduced her to friends without explanation or apology, simply as the woman he was dating. 6 months in, the topic of meeting families arose. Phoebe had maintained limited contact with her parents, who struggled with her transition. They still occasionally used her birth name, still referred to her as their son in conversations with others. "They're trying," Phoebe explained to Michael. "In their own way. My mom has started using my name more consistently. My dad, it's harder for him. Would it help if I was there? Sometimes seeing their child happy with someone else helps parents adjust." The dinner was scheduled for the following month. Phoebe selected her outfit with excruciating care. A conservative navy blue dress with pearl earrings. Professional, feminine without being flamboyant. An outfit that said, "Take me seriously." Her childhood home felt simultaneously familiar and foreign. Photos on the walls captured moments from a life that felt increasingly distant. A child in sports uniforms, graduation photos, family vacations, all featuring someone who existed now only in memory and photographs. Her mother opened the door, her smile nervous but genuine. "Phoebe, you look lovely. And this must be Michael." It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Wilson. Thank you for having us. Her father appeared in the hallway behind her mother, his expression more reserved. Hello. Just that. No name at all, neither the old nor the new. Dinner was a careful dance of safe topics. Michael talked about his teaching. Her parents discussed neighborhood developments. Phoebe shared stories from work. Beneath the conversation ran currents of unspoken questions and adjustments. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, over coffee and dessert. Michael had mentioned a recent article related to his research, and Phoebe had contributed an insight that impressed him. That's my girl, Michael said proudly. Always making connections I miss. The phrase hung in the air for a moment. Phoebe's father's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Her mother glanced between them anxiously. Then, slowly, her father returned to his dessert. She always was observant, even as a child. The pronoun landed like a gift. Phoebe met her father's eyes, saw the effort there, the tentative acceptance. Not complete understanding, perhaps, but a willingness to try. The drive home was quiet, Phoebe processing the evening. Michael reached across the console to take her hand. Your parents love you. They're trying to understand. I know. It's just hard when they look at me and still see someone else. They'll get there, and in the meantime, I see you. Completely. The relationship with her parents improved gradually over the following months. Her mother began sending birthday cards addressed to our daughter Phoebe. Her father made efforts with pronouns, though he still occasionally slipped. Most importantly, they stopped asking when this phase would end, or suggesting that life had been easier before. 2 years after her legal name change, Phoebe received a promotion at work. The announcement email referred to her as one of our most valuable team members and noted her attention to detail and analytical skills. No mention of her gender or transition, just recognition of her professional contributions. The celebration dinner that evening was at an upscale restaurant downtown. Phoebe wore the pink cocktail dress, still her favorite after all this time, and Michael wore a suit he reserved for special occasions.
To the new Deputy Director of Analytics,
he toasted, raising his glass.
Thank you for being by my side through all of this. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
He reached into his pocket.
Which brings me to something I've been thinking about.
The small velvet box appeared on the table between them. Phoebe's breath caught.
I had a whole speech prepared,
Michael said, his voice uncharacteristically nervous.
About how you've taught me what courage looks like, how your authenticity challenged me to be more honest in my own life. But right now, looking at you, I just know that I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?
The ring was vintage-inspired, elegant, without being ostentatious. It slid onto her finger perfectly. Yes. Planning a wedding brought unexpected challenges. The bridal boutique that treated her with suspicion and barely concealed discomfort. The venue coordinator who kept directing questions to Michael rather than to her. The awkward conversations with extended family members who hadn't been part of her transition journey. But there were joys, too. Finding the perfect dress, not white, but a champagne color that complemented her brown hair and skin tone. Selecting flowers and music that represented both of them. Creating a ceremony that honored their journey together. Phoebe's parents confirmed their attendance after some initial hesitation. Of course we'll be there, her mother said.
You're our child.
The question of who would walk her down the aisle remained unresolved until a month before the wedding. Her father called, his voice gruff with emotion.
I've been thinking about the wedding. If you'd like, I'd be honored to walk with you. The tears came immediately. I'd like that very much, Dad. I'm trying. Phoebe, I want you to know that. I'm trying to understand.
I know, Dad. That's all I've ever asked. The wedding day dawned clear and bright. The venue, a restored historic building with gardens, was decorated with wildflowers and twinkling lights. Guests gathered, a mix of colleagues, friends, and family from both sides. In the bridal suite, Melanie helped with final adjustments to the champagne-colored gown. Phoebe's brown hair was styled in an elegant updo, with a few strands framing her face.
I can't believe this is happening,
Phoebe whispered, studying her reflection. The person in the mirror was so far from the one who had stood trembling in a bathroom years ago, contemplating the first steps of transition. You deserve this happiness, Melanie said, adjusting the necklace that completed the outfit. More than anyone I know. A knock at the door signaled her father's arrival. He entered hesitantly, his eyes widening at the sight of his daughter in her wedding gown.
You look beautiful,
he said, his voice thick with emotion. Thank you, Dad. He offered his arm.
Ready?
The walk down the aisle was like a dream. Faces turned to watch, smiles, and a few tears visible among the guests. Michael waited at the front, his expression one of awe and love. The ceremony was brief but meaningful. They had written their own vows, each promising to support the other's journey, to foster growth and authenticity, to love completely.
I take you, Phoebe Elizabeth Wilson, to be my wife,
Michael said, sliding the ring onto her finger. Those words, my wife, resonated with a rightness that brought tears to her eyes. The reception that followed was joyful celebration. Phoebe danced with her father, who held her carefully, respectfully.
I'm proud of you,
he said quietly. Not for all of this. He gestured vaguely, encompassing her appearance. But for having the courage to live honestly. That takes strength. Thank you, Dad. That means everything. Later, as she danced with her new husband, Michael held her close. Happy? Completely. For perhaps the first time in my life. That's all I want for you. For us, the years that followed brought new challenges and joys, career advancements, a move to a new city for Michael's teaching position, the decision to start a family through adoption. Through it all, Phoebe remained authentically herself. The closet in their new home contained no hidden compartments, no secret collections. The pink cocktail dress hung alongside other clothes, still brought out for special occasions, but no longer a symbol of forbidden desires. On the 5th anniversary of her legal name change, Phoebe found herself reflecting on the journey. The person she had been seemed increasingly distant, not forgotten, but integrated into a more complete whole. That evening, she and Michael sat on their porch, watching the sunset. Her brown hair, now with a few strands of silver, caught the fading light.
Do you ever think about how far you've come?
Michael asked, seemingly reading her thoughts.
Every day, and I'm grateful for every step of the journey.
Even the painful parts?
Even those. They led me here, to this life, to you.
The light faded, stars appearing in the darkening sky. Phoebe Wilson, wife, professional, friend, daughter, authentic in every role, took her husband's hand and stepped into the continued unfolding of her true life.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!